SeTab and Hoya, which were both magic damage carries, and it didn't seem like ThunderTalk were able to get that much. It wasn't until 1xN scaled into the late game on the Kaisa that maybe there was a chance, but they were so behind in gold that it didn't matter. So maybe this time around, instead of opting in for a late game carry for 1xN, does ThunderTalk prioritize something that hits a little harder earlier in the game?
Were you asking for like a Jarvan? Like maybe a Poppy? I don't know.
No, like a
Poppy has.
I mean, it's something in the same veins as Misfortune, right? That's something that you can spike on the first item.
1xN has not been a decent, like the most we're probably going to get from him is an Ashe. He doesn't really shown to be like a Draven or a Caitlyn player so far, so would be a pretty good excitement, like
Varus
a
is open.
Interesting throne. Yeah, Varus is up and available. Still have Misfortune that can kind of deal with him in lane, or you can try to go for that. Maybe they go with a Misfortune Nico, which has been a very popular pairing here, as TT elect to ban both Naafiri and Vi. So definitely going to be moving down the tier list when it comes to junglers here. All right, Varus.
Oh, we got baited. All right, it's Sejuani for Beichuan.
Hoya just looked over like, yeah, I guess we're just first picking Sejuani here for Beichuan.
There's
probably no Yone to pair with it either, so I'm a little confused. Are we going for like full melee setups in the solo lanes?
What can SeTab go to that's not Yone? Would he be looking
Yasuo,
at like...
so he's played
Silas?
Yasuo.
True.
Mbessa is up and available. Silas is something that like you were just noting, but I don't know if quite yet the draft is quite Silasable. It's only a Varus for right now, but said they're going to go for the Nico, okay. They want to try to have some lane priority, and there's only Leona and Relgon. You still have the Nautilus, you still have the Alistar up and available. Feels a little weird to preemptively go for this, but W want to smash bottom lane.
Early initiations and pick potential is high with the Chain of Corruptions and Pop Blossom between Taeyoon and Vampire. Now ThunderTalk have a chance to just completely lock down their bot lane of choice, but they're going to let that actually go through in the hands of the second round of picks and bans. ThunderTalk opting to secure their top laner of choice, Renekton for Hoya. Still thinking about something for SeTab in the mid lane. If it is Victor, it wouldn't really pair well with the Sejuani for that permafrost stacking, but I guess it's a control mage option for the ThunderTalk squad.
I think that this is fine for what WE are showing. You are a little outranged, and when you talk about just wanting to play through the lanes, you look at what ThunderTalk have. Victor is a very strong mage in the laning phase with his Q and his E. I mean, Renekton Sejuani is always going to be able to grant you whatever priority in terms of either skirmishing potential or even looking for grubs. I think this is fine for right now, but AD carries are going to start to get pinched here, and we already have two of them gone, especially the Ezreal and Kaisa big takeaways for 1xN, and now the Ashe band as well. This might end up being another Jinx game coming in for 1xN and ThunderTalk.
Is this the composition to set up for it? I mean, at least you have, you know, a solid frontline tank from the jungle with Beichuan on Sejuani. Renekton, not necessarily a super reliable frontliner the later the game goes on compared to something like an Ornn, who's going to provide a little bit beefier of a body to stand behind for the likes of Varus, as well as really incredibly strong initiation with Call of the Forge God. And they're denying those picks away that could set up even more initiation, more protection. They sniff out the possibility of a hyper carry coming in by just banning away the Lulu outright. If you still wanted to go for a hyper carry plus enchanter support, what are you looking at? Like Melio support? You're looking at Karma support? Question mark?
I mean, Karma's more realistic in this case. So, I mean, from ThunderTalk, they're building out a front line. You were talking about Renekton not necessarily having as much tank stats, but I think when he has access to things like Asterix and potentially a Sundered Sky, he actually gets a lot of HP from his Dominus. So that alongside the Sejuani could be very difficult. Seems like ThunderTalk, from the side of WE, they want massive control of space. I mean, Ornn gets to cheat you that. Even this Nico gets to do that as well. So ThunderTalk, what are exactly they going to go for in the bottom lane position? Corki would give them early skirmishing. Jin's a reliable laner, but does tend to struggle against an Orin and an Orianna, potentially setting up on him.
That's my big concern if they go for the Jhin, because then you are basically putting the responsibility of tank burning into SeTab's hands. You know, at least he can, you know, optimize for something like a Leandra's Torment on this Victor, and he'll be able to deal with the Ornn. And it's not like Jhin late game will be able to deal with tanks. It's just that mid game gets to be very difficult when you don't have access to a Last Whisper item. You're just relying on pure burst, and the hover from WE, gonna wait until it's locked in. Oh my gosh, I really love this. You have 2 carries on the side of ThunderTalk. Without Flash, they have no way to escape a Cataclysm.
Yeah. The Bard, though, you know, I always have to call this out. 2 immobile carries on the same side. We're talking about WE. If they don't have Flash, Bard ultimate is a death sentence alongside Sejuani ult and the like. So there's a lot of setup here. I think summoner spells are going to be at a premium this game, and that means that our junglers need to be very proactive. We need to see how they're interacting with their lanes, setting up for around objectives. WE are not going to be able to get much in the early game just by way of having this Ornn on your team, so either their bot lane is going to have to pull a lot of weight, or we're going to have to see ThunderTalk putting early priority on some of these objectives and making sure that they're staying consistent to snatch them up and give them some kind of scaling in this game.
Yeah, it definitely seems like ThunderTalk are, even though they have late game insurance policy in the Victor, they feel like a beatdown composition. And if they do not get that massive gold lead, that massive objective lead before the rest of this composition starts really coming into its own for the side of WE, and those engages and the initiations they have plenty in supply are available, I'm very concerned and very afraid for ThunderTalk's carries. Whereas Team WE, as you called out, you have early bridge and agency from the bot lane, and if Taeyoon and Vampire are able to perform the way they did in game 1, I think WE fans are very hopeful in picking up their first series win of the split.
Yeah. ThunderTalk are no slouches. If this game does go late, I mean, personally, I just like what their team composition is able to do. I think Team WE is a little too one note, but we'll see how they execute. Again, Victor should be able to get a lot done. SeTab's able to be covered here in the laning phase thanks to playing Victor. And with this Jhin, you always have to think, what happens if you get multiple items? Going into game number 2 here in the home arena, Xi'an for WE, as they are on the cusp of potentially taking a 2-0, or is ThunderTalk going to provide us an upset there and send us all the way to game 3?
That's twice now the Pip has shown one specific person in the crowd. I wonder if she is like a famous influencer or someone really well known within the community for the LPL, or maybe just in general over in China, because big focus there from the cameraman. Anyway, going back into second game, 1 minute on the board already. We get a chance to look at the keystones here. Not any really aggressive moves from the side of WE in terms of getting vision down. They place one by the Raptor camp, mirrored for the side of ThunderTalk being able to sneak one in on the Raptor camp of Team WE. And Beichuan actually avoids the ward. He's going to start up on his red buff. I'm curious to see if he's going to try and do something cheeky and avoid the Raptor camp altogether in that first minute while the ward is spawned, or if he's just going to continue to do a full clear.
Could be possible. We'll take a look. Bot lane's already starting to get off to a pretty fun start with these two. Expect that Taeyoon and this team should be, and Vampire should be able to get early damage down, just how their 2 champions interact. But can expect with 4-shot plus a stun potentially here for Feather could open up some gameplay. Monki is going to finish his Krugs. The ward shouldn't have expired quite yet, so let's see if he's able to dodge out on vision. Shouldn't have been seen. There we go. Okay, so he stepped out of the brush. He's going to get spotted there.
Meanwhile, back on the bot side, both 1xN and Vampire have taken a lot of damage in these early trades. I think it definitely benefits the side of Team WE, though, since Taeyoon is still very healthy. And as long as he's able to stay in the lane, should be able to... Oh, Vampire taking a lot of damage here from the last Deadly Flourish trade. Immediately forced to pop the heal just to get enough distance and run away. I think it was exchanged from a heal from Feather as well.
Well, Monki did get spotted on Raptors. Beichuan should have also been spotted because there was 2 wards placed near his Raptors as well.
Yeah.
He's going to go for 4 camps into bot lane gank. Okay.
But
We're doing this. 1xn, don't step up to the wall.
Oh, 1xn stepping up to the one spot that Monki could flag and drag over. Just not respecting an earlier timer from WE's jungler. Are they going to look for 2 kills? Unfortunately, not going to be the case, but it's still first blood going in the hands of WE.
And a massive win with getting all of those summoner spells out as well as the kill. It does go over to Nico, which isn't great, but Monki is going to be more than happy with the result. Gets himself a bottom side scuttle, can take his blue buff, even look mid with SeTab now currently pressuring Karis. There's going to be a ward there that does spot him, but buys some momentary relief for his mid laner as WE come out swinging in this game number 2 and a good punish onto TT's bot lane.
And you know, I would also be very much in the same wavelength that support first blood, not ideal, but at least for the sake of Vampire, he's playing Nico, so he gets to rush the proto belt slightly faster with an accelerated amplifying tome. Maybe that opens up a window for WE to find some earlier windows to get those extended range on the pop blossoms. We're still about a minute and 45 seconds away from the first scrub spawning, which is where a lot of these teams tend to focus their next big objective play so far.
Oh my god. Monki.
Dude, Monki, this
you are a little rat for this. He doesn't get spotted. Oh my god, they're going to go for this.
This is so good. Yeah, 1xn doesn't have flash. Beichuan is not going to get here in time. Looks for Feather this time. Burns the flash. And 1xn at least is safely from danger this time around. But, okay, you know what?
We got the flash from Feather.
Skills.
We got the flash from Feather. That's all that matters. Okay. Well, well, Vampire's dead. All right, say goodbye, everyone.
Beichuan able to get one back for the side of ThunderTalk Gaming, baby, and 1xn is the recipient of the kill gold.
Okay, nice. Should open up, you know, a little bit of time here for their bot lane to get a push. I'm assuming they're going to go for a recall, look
Karis?
To pressure. Karis
One more
doesn't have very much damage. Oh,
Ooh.
Gets the flash. That does mean that Monki can revisit this lane now. Whoever decides to walk into mid lane, that's a potential find onto SeTab. And SeTab will not have the flash, but will have his ultimate, so can have a little bit of damage they can look to trade onto his opponent.
This is a really good setup from Karis now, because as soon as you hit level 6, you have Shockwave that can pull in the Victor to make it easier for the Jarvan set up the gank. Monki should be able to hit level 6 before the flash comes back up from SeTab as well. So anytime that he wants to actually shove up the wave, he's going to have to call on Beichuan or Feather to make sure that they're hovering and that he doesn't get ganked for it.
Yeah. They're preparing around mid. They really want to put pressure onto this dragon, recognizing that even though they are the team with double range bot lane as well as having multiple range carries, well, maybe they just kill Feather with the ultimate, though.
Whoa! He just dinged level 4, but because he was level 3, he took so much damage. SeTab now trying to equalize it back with the Chaos Storm, but Vampire's able to walk away! He has enough movement speed thanks to the heal, and now WE extend the leaderboard kills to 2.
That's an amazing find there. Just being able to grab Feather also means that Taeyoon now has to, at the very least, feign like he's recalling, buy time. And now they're actually a little desynced between the two of them. Feather might make another visit into the mid lane just to clear his bottom side jungle and make sure that there is no vision and can protect the camps of his jungler. But a good find onto Beichuan, or onto Feather after roaming mid. I mean, WE, they have played really well around the fact that they can kind of make these explosive picks through Fog of War. And while it wasn't onto SeTab, Monki's going to hit level 6 soon. I have to imagine that once his ultimate's back up from Karis, maybe there's another look here.
Yeah. Once Shockwave is back up, they should have enough burst damage to all in onto SeTab anytime that he is overextended in the mid lane. Vampire already taking measures to prepare for such a gank and maneuver by putting a control ward down and completely nullifying any vision that was in that line brush. So now that SeTab is going to have to lean extra heavy on the left side. But I think if I'm not mistaken, there's already control ward set up on the other line brush as well. So there is no safe vision for SeTab on any sides of the river here. He is pretty much stuck behind this wall.
Yeah. He's getting a little bit of reinforcements. He's like, okay, Beichuan's sitting in Raptors. I can step up for my minion wave now, okay? Yep. Bard's like vaguely in the area, so I like this. And when you take a look back at the lanes, Renekton very minorly has an advantage, something that is I considered pretty negligible here. So, I mean, ThunderTalk are not too displeased. They got themselves the grubs like we were talking about from the draft. And while there isn't very much across the map happening, this does, I think, favor ThunderTalk for the time being. So my eyes are going to fall back onto these objectives. Grub spawning in 2, Dragon in 3. Are TT going to prioritize trying to get more of these grubs, or say, hey, we need to stop the stacking. If we can grab this next Dragon, I think it puts a pretty big spanner in the works of WE.
Again, oh no, SeTab is in trouble. Cataclysm into the shockwave. A couple more auto attacks. Monki's trying to take it up, and he flashes away from the glacial prison out of fog. WE make that dive so easy.
And SeTab is now dead for another 20 seconds. Karis is not going to even bother to show up on this wave. Just recall, walk back mid. A good punish onto this Victor. Hey, didn't have flash. We said that we wanted to see it. That was a trade of 2 flashes, though, for one. Beichuan using his, so Monki and Karis no longer have theirs. And that is something that they can punish with this Renekton or this Bard. But Bard is still pretty far away from that level 6, whereas Vampire getting very close to having Pop Blossom.
This now gives Karis a really nice lead in the mid lane. Gold, you know, a few hundred. Maybe not necessarily the end of the world for SeTab on the Victor, but in terms of just overall pressure and experience, Karis should be able to hit level 9 first. Will help with the laning trades. Should be able to at least continue the pressure for being able to get Prio on the wave. But the fact that he lost his flash having to get away from Beichuan's ultimate does mean it did cost his summoner spell. He's already on the top side of the map. Still has teleport if he needs to use it for the upcoming fight. And ThunderTalk having rotated their bot lane over to mid so that SeTab can safely lane back against Karis on the top side should give them a window to contest for the grubs.
You can see right now, SeTab's actually just trying to bully him, just kind of walked him in between the brushes there. So you see them jockeying for position on this top side. Monki is just now leaving base. So right now it seems like we are just going to be clearing mid-wave first and then moving out and playing to our sides of the map. And I think it's an important series, not just within the group when we're talking about Group Ascend and the teams that are around them in the standings, but aside from just the win, these two mid laners are really trying to prove themselves here in the LPL. Oh, good cleanse coming out from Taeyoon, but him and Karis really need to step up and find their footing here in the LPL so that they can bring their teams to more wins, especially for both of these players who have not really been able to do much in the LCK. Okay,
exchange of ultimates. Yeah, Vampire, I guess, felt like he was forced to use the Pop Blossom to make sure that ThunderTalk could not extend the engage, but the Glacial Prison had already gone wide, so didn't really seem like anything real was going to happen there. But now, trade of ultimates, Beichuan starting up the grubs, Monki trying to fight for his way in, Banana Brush in fog. Here comes Karis, looming on down, completing the flank. Shockwave right on the 2, right into the Cataclysm at 1xN. Cannot leave. Did he flash into the wall? Because that is tragic. Vampire might be the next target, but as long as the Nico goes down and no one else, but Taeyoon. Oh,
no way, no way.
Good piercing arrow empowered by the W cast is able to save his life, and WE just continuing to roll away with the game.
And that is a super unlucky play coming in. I mean, WE just get more kills into their back pocket. Taeyoon surviving feels like the final nail, the final straw on the camel's back that breaks this game now for them. As it'll be 2 grubs. I mean, ThunderTalk get 4, but who else is hitting turrets? All of the plates are completely healthy here for Team WE. We get to track Karis in this fight, making it such a difficult spot. This is max range ultimate landing, even without the Pop Blossom. WE are able to collapse, force out summoner spells, and Taeyoon surviving here at the very last moment. It's Karis coming out of the Zonias or out of the Bard ultimate and giving him a shield, being able to give him the movement speed to get out. That is heartbreaking for ThunderTalk.
It's the fact that Beichuan used the ultimate in the mid lane. Karis has the confidence to literally walk up and down smash them with the shockwave. I mean, who else is going to stop him in the middle of that play? And I feel like the only thing that 1xN could have done was just flash the shockwave preemptively, but was trying to save it for the Cataclysm, and unfortunately for him, just into the wall he went. And now WE find themselves with, you know, I guess to their credit, only 4 grubs going over to the side of ThunderTalk, since they were able to get the first 3 and the first one off the rotation before the collapse happened. But 6 kills to 2, almost 3,000 gold ahead. This is a really nice position for WE's early game.
This is what they wanted to see, though, right? We said that, you know, as this game goes on, it might get a little harder for you to find something. They catch Taeyoon. Can Vampire block, though?
He's got 2 clones, and he's stepping right
behind
Taeyoon.
Stop moving! Stop moving!
Bullet! Okay, that was so tricky, but Vampire able to absorb the last curtain call bullet to make sure that Taeyoon did not go down, since he was down flash and cleanse from the prior 2 fights.
Mark, they're going to go bot lane here. I mean, you saw the pinks coming out. I mean, Karis has to be very careful here. He could have gotten potentially Jhin to come on down. They could use the ultimate as well. This is the part of getting mid priority that is so important for ThunderTalk, being able to move around the map, open up plays, and force summoners.
Is he just going to solo him?
Feather's just dead.
Dude,
I mean,
Monki is so
it's a jungle versus
accelerated.
support.
Yeah. Level 10 versus what I believe is a level 6 Bard.
Ooh.
Yeah, Sunder Sky. And
What
now
are we
Karis 1v1ing SeTab. Don't tell me he just solos him right here and there. One more QW. Karis is having a pop-off series tonight, y'all.
He gets to hit another wave. They'll potentially even look to take this turret. They have mid priority as well. 2 picks immediately from Team WE. Open up the map for them so wide. As now, yeah, they're sending multiple members instead of ignoring mid. Now a play happening on the top side. It is Ornn versus 3. Bard is going to be looking to ult the turret, so if Cube knows any better, if he thinks this Bard is in the area, hug this turret. They decide not to go for it, and that's going to be the first turret going right to Team WE, which will mean feats of strength have been accomplished.
Yep. And being able to hit the first T1 off the map is so huge for creating pressure. Oh, good sidestep by Taeyoon! He was down flush! And the cleanse cannot get you out of a tempered fate, but the fact he had the fancy feet to just maneuver out of that potential pick, just another salt rubbing in the wounds of ThunderTalk in the first 15 minutes.
Alright, guys. We have 4 grubs. We may have messed up some of these fights, but we got 30 seconds before this Herald spawns. TT, you gotta lock in, you gotta do what you can, find whatever solid ground, and stand firm up against Team WE, because this next fight kind of feels like it's not going to blow open the entire thing, but a Herald for WE would mean that they can take the mid-tier one, that they can make it harder for 1xN or SeTab to actually get farm. This means that the Dragon in 2 minutes time is also going to be something that potentially becomes very difficult for them to fight. So you see ThunderTalk already putting numbers in this area as Feather's coming back from base. SeTab is already in the mid lane. They've moved these people preemptively. This should be their objective.
Monki immediately going in on the SeTab, just popping the Cataclysm, but he does not burn the flash until now, but Vampire can follow up with a blossom of his own. Cube is there. Call the Forge God gets the knockup, and SeTab is gone. Here comes Hoya. Can he find a good flank? But who can his target be? Everyone from WE quickly reassembles and protects the positioning of their carries here. Now the rest of WE gonna gain vision control and priority of the mid wave, and they're back on the Rift Herald.
Okay, Hoya still has a flank here. There's still a Dominus available. They may have found this pick onto Vampire, but now Hoya's going to get pinched. Can they slowly drag this out? This could be good for the side of ThunderTalk.
Hoya is in trouble, forced to flash away from the Searing Charge. Monki is now going to continue the chase onto the Crocodile. Taeyoon and Vampire right behind him, getting the double slice and dice, nicely done by Hoya. Here comes the Tempered Fate right onto Karis. Can they land the CC on top of him? Cosmic.
That's enough.
Binding. Is it enough? Karis is in trouble. Steps behind the curtain call. Finally dies the SeTab, who resurrected from the grave and teleported in because the fight went on so damn long.
Just too much dancing around from WE. We said it in game 1. They did it around the base. They got aced. Now here around the Herald, it's only 2 down, but now they'll be able to get a little bit of gold back onto SeTab. Get him maybe even this top lane tier 1. And that should provide them with enough gold to now skate more closely into this game. They don't have to care about this bottom side Dragon. That's a mistake coming in from WE, and one that TT are going to very much be thankful for, as it gave them a way back into this game.
Yeah, you know, Team WE, for their credit, they have been playing with fire, and they've been able to at least handle it very gracefully throughout a majority of this game. But that was one of those moments when they stayed a little too close to the heat of the play. Now, ThunderTalk, 1xN did just lose his flash off the back of Taeyoon, and now that's an easy Cataclysm. Goes for the easy Q. Monki drops the Cataclysm. Easy dunk for the side of Team WE.
Okay, that's not the mid-tier one. I thought maybe they're going to try to play more for this, but maybe afraid of Beichuan being in the area. Dragon was never taken here, so if WE really want to, you can kind of see that they're going to just start this. Varus will clear out the mid-wave. He'll move down. Beichuan and Hoya might have something to say about that if they really decide they want to try to contest. A lot of vision here, and 1xN will not be here for this fight, but SeTab is moving. Coob already preemptively knowing he doesn't have teleport, so he's going to have to hoof it all the way over. Oh!
The Glacier Prison goes wide once again, and WE are going to turn now to Hoya, who doesn't have a flash. The Shockwave pulls him right back in. WE guarantee the numbers advantage as they turn the focus back to the Dragon. And ThunderTalk know that they cannot have a chance to contest. They're just going to look for the mid-tier one instead.
I like, they're not even going to get this turret, though. Ornn can just be used to clear out this entire wave.
And Feather's now in trouble. There's no flash. Look at how fast WE are able to move in between these plays and make these sequences flow so seamlessly. This is a whole new WE we're seeing on the Rift.
Mark, we got to get excited. WE are about to win their first series of split number 2. It might come up against ThunderTalk, but better them than anybody else at this point.
Yeah.
WE have not been able to piece together wins so far recently.
It's only been the one few in between. A game one off of some of the top teams and just not being able to close out the series. But now they are in position to make that happen for the first time in the second split.
A win versus AL, but still losing the series. A win versus BLG, still end up losing the series. A win versus Top Esports that looked pretty good in game number 1, ends up in still a loss there. I was thinking, okay, it's fine. These are top-level teams. You're able to prove yourself there. Against ThunderTalk, this was the part where it was going to be very easy, or at least comparable for them. Vampire.
Massive Pop Blossom sets up Taeyoon for a lot of damage onto Feather, forced out of the fight. Monki locking in SeTab, now flashing over the Baron Pit wall before that ball comes into play. Tempered Fate stops Karis in his tracks. The rest of WE are forced to the right side. Glacial Prison lands true right at the Taeyoon, but Monki comes back in, stuns them up. The Shockwave buys time for Taeyoon to survive and finish off the front line, and ThunderTalk are forced to retreat once again. The chase is on from WE's members, but they're not going to find any more.
Now with the teleport, let's just go towards this Otacon. Let's get the pings on going, brothers. Like, oh, Karis is just matching him. Okay, I mean, Karis, you don't have ultimate. You should be able to win this 1v1 if you're able to hit him. Okay.
He's got Rod of Ages and Seraphs. Does he win the 1v1 against SeTab? He's got a level advantage. He's just buying time. SeTab had already used the TP to try to get the wave in as fast as possible, and now he's routed off by Vampire on the left side. He's trying to navigate it as much as possible. It's taking a while. The blast cone is going to send him right into the waiting arms of Monki, and poor SeTab is just on the wrong side of the map here. Unless he can get another blast cone play, it just sends him back over. I guess ThunderTalk's mid laner stalled a lot of time for the rest of his team to spawn back on the map, but at what cost?
I'm okay with that, though. Like, SeTab used both of his summoner spells, which, yes, is very problematic, but I think WE should not have cared about this mid-wave at all, and instead gone for the Otacon. They decide against it, and while they do grab themselves the kill, I do think, unfortunately, take a little bit of a stumble here as Karis gets his recall canceled. I'm going to be honest, though, Mark. 6,000 gold at 22 minutes, 15-4. This is the kind of early game we needed to see from WE, and they are performing so far. But they still need to close out. I hate saying this about this team right now, but the inability to close games has hampered them. So we need to see them cleanly, or at the very least, explode that Nexus so that we can confirm with ourselves that WE are going to win this game.
They're so close to being able to make it happen. A 6,000 gold advantage on Team WE's side. Concerns are totally valid, given what we have seen from the results of this squad in prior series. As Taeyoon, actually it's Vampire, locked in, but he flashes away. Now Monki decides to go in with a flag and drag, doesn't commit the Cataclysm. Chaos Storm, exhausted by SeTab, will push the WE jungler out of the river. Beichuan trying to follow up, but doesn't have Glacial Prison anymore. Here comes the Horn. Called the Forge God, lands on the feather. Monki is in, looking for the target. Pop Blossom will only hit on the right side of Hoya as he flashes in, tries to take out the AD carry, and Monki still survives. He bought enough time on the other side of the fight from ThunderTalk, so they could not help Hoya get out alive.
They're going to run towards the Otacon here, and WE find another pick that opens up the map for them. I'm wrong. They hate this Otacon. They're taking it slow. They're taking it by the books. They don't want to play around this objective right now. It might be voracious, but it is not enough for them. 23 seconds before this dragon spawns. WE, they're going to set right back up. They have level 16 now on their Orianna. Let's take a look back at this fight. You're just getting ready into a chokehold here onto Feather. I mean, it's cool you're killing the Bard and whatnot, but this is the focus here just so they can slip Nico into the back line versus Hoya. I was going through the history books here, and the latest time that we actually had a winless team in the LPL was 2022 summer, and it was also Team WE. They went 0-16, 7-32 game record.
Wow.
WE are already trying to buck that trend. They do not want to be at the bottom of the table here in the LPL.
2 dragons to their name, starting up what could be their 3rd dragon. Secured here, ThunderTalk trying to make their way into the river. Beichuan, gotta be careful here. Karis is all by himself. He still has a flash available, just trying to wait out the permafrost before he commits a flash. But the rest of WE come in to bail out their mid laner. Curtain call, but it's a Pop Blossom from Vampire that buys up some space, and Karis is able to do away with Beichuan. Feather now in trouble. Tempered Fade right into the backline, stalls some time, but they've lost the front line. It's only on to Hoya to protect the rest of the backline, and SeTab at 1xn, but they're under fire. Shockwave doesn't really do anything, but a piercing arrow almost kills SeTab and 1xn in the backline. They're able to limp away alive. But WE still come away with the fight dub.
A lot of things happened there, but a lot of them were positive for WE. They'll grab the dragon. Those were flashes being blown. And they're slowly inching towards the end of this game. It's taken them a while, and you can see that ThunderTalk are really making them sweat for it. It feels like every single fight, WE are a little cautious. They're saying, okay, we can find this one pick, but can we go for a little bit more? They stutter step, and that's where it's really starting to kill them here, as control over river was such a strong point for WE, but giving an opening, I mean, Beichuan is just way too far up here. I get that you're trying to hit Karis, but look at your backline. Yes, the curtain call's there, but there's too many people in front of you and your opponents. And your backline is just completely separated. So instead of this, like, okay, the Orianna ult missing happens, but my AD carry flashing, not great.
Shockwave on the Beichuan, good blast cone, at least keeps ThunderTalk's jungler alive for now. Not the time for WE to immediately rip the Baron. There's still ultimates available from the side of ThunderTalk. Chaos Storm coming up in 1 second. Glacial Prison coming up in 5. SeTab doesn't have flash from the last fight, and they spotted him on vision. Monki wants to look for the collapse, but he cannot get in range just yet. And now WE have to take notice that Karis is under fire. Sidesteps the Tempered Fate easily, and now ThunderTalk, are they going to get collapsed on here? Beichuan already used the Glacial Prison, was not able to lock down Karis long enough, and he's on the wrong side of the tracks. The rest of Team WE making the collapse now. The Poral Rider has got to get the hell out of there, trying to limp away through the top lane.
Karis,
just might be available here. It's possible. Oh, Call the Forge God being used, looking for 1xn. That's his flash gone. And now another target that could be for the Pop Blossom.
He finds it!
On the extended range. Cleanse used, but Monki can sail in. Still has Cataclysm available, looking for the perfect opportunity to use it now. WE still continuing the chase on the ThunderTalk now. SeTab buys some space, using the gravity field. Monki on the right side. Hoya popping the Dominus. A lot of ultimates being used right now by the side of ThunderTalk, but the rest of WE can hold the grounds here in the River of the Baron.
So much missing from WE though, and in Overforce again. Guys just start up an objective now. They're starting to steal blue buff away. It's going to be still taken there by ThunderTalk. WE, they're just floundering on a lot of these plays. They're going to finally go for the Otacon. And that'll be the Ruinous Otacon going over to them, so they will get increased rewards from these dragons. They'll get a ton of blood petals. Very messy game here, Mark. I think you could start to feel some of that weight on WE. They do not want to go winless. They do not want to throw this game, so they're trying for every last advantage they can get here. And it's just, some of it is just not connecting.
Karis locked in
Fake.
by the tempered fake. Glacial Prison.
Fake.
The timing is not there. It's too early. The shockwave is going to pull Hoya and Beichuan in. The Sejuani now in for the hell of a ride of its lifetime. Beichuan cannot get out. The Arctic Assault into the wall. Doomsday and tragedy for ThunderTalk jungler. Hoya isolated once again. And it's just up to SeTab and 1xN to try and pull a rabbit out of the hat. A miracle, but it's going to be so hard because they're nearly 9,000 gold down. A curtain call looking for the frontline members, but Monki and Cube are so tanky, they can just use the call of the Forge God, looking right back on a feather. The board falls. WE are peeled off the Baron for now, but they can always return.
They're going to go straight back to it, and it'll be SeTab and 1xN to put the defense on for ThunderTalk. No curtain call. An Arcane Storm, though, available here for SeTab as Vampire goes fishing.
Finds 1xN, and that's the pick they need. No summoner spells available for the Jhin. Cleanse and Flash were already exhausted in prior fights, and now it's up to SeTab. But no Chaos Storm available. This Baron is easy to secure for the side of Team WE. Finding themselves at 11,000 gold ahead of ThunderTalk. They are one fight away from finding their first series win of the split.
And guess what? We got 45 seconds before Chemtech Soul has arrived. They've got gold leads, they've got Ornn items, and they've got Baron. There is everything in Team WE's inventory required to blow up. ThunderTalk have looked lost, they have looked uncomposed and disheveled in both of these games, and are about to lose to the team with 0 series wins all year long.
WE didn't find a single series win in Split 1. The only way that they were able to find series wins was through the qualifier stage, being able to at least get themselves into Group Ascend. It has been a struggle. It has been such a hard-fought battle to stay afloat and relevant amongst all the teams here in Group Ascend. And even though they've been able to find game wins off the top of teams like Top Esports and anyone's Legend of BLG, their inability to close the series off the strength and momentum that they were able to find with those games has plagued them. But now they are on the cusp of being able to remove that blemish in their record.
And think about off of who this performance is coming from. Karis,
TP?
individually, Monki, and Vampire. We're getting the last TP. Hoya's already popped the Dominus.
Tempered Fade right onto Karis. Can they hold the line here? Vampire positions his Pop Blossom for the Renekton. Karis still under fire, but Hoya cannot do enough. He's forced to slice and dice back through the front line. Hoya is taken out of the fight. Curtain Call now going to fish for Cube. He doesn't have a teleport to rejoin the fight, but the rest of the Baron Buff members from Team WE can continue to push in through the base.
Monki!
Flashes in, Cataclysm, dunks, feathers, board, and now ThunderTalk members are down to 3.
Okay, one last push. Vampire hiding as a minion yet again. They're going to get cheeky with it. It's an ultimate that doesn't land. They're going to continue to fish. Guys, you got to be careful. You don't have that much HP available. They'll at least grab the inhibitor, and they'll get back out from the base. That was Chemtech Soul. That was teleports from Hoya, as well as 2 kills. WE are on top of this game, 11,000 gold up.
And even with this massive gold lead, you can tell how much it means to no!
No!
Like why now? Why now?
All right. I think okay, it's Vampire. Something happened with Vampire.
Okay. Continuing my train of thought, you can tell that not just in this fight, but the fight before in the Otacon, even when Team WE seemed like they had windows to punish, they have been trying to play so carefully, even extra carefully than I would have probably imagined them compared to the times they have played before, because they are it's so important for them to be able to close out this series as cleanly as possible. And I think the nerves are starting to get to them, because a team with this massive of a gold lead, I feel like shouldn't be struggling to find some of these ultimates here, but you're seeing some hesitations, some whiffs on some shockwaves here, but it's okay because Team WE still in a far ahead enough of a position that I don't think it's the end of the world. I think it is very telling though, and it just goes to deliver even more on the weight of this second game.
They sent us back into the pause screen. I don't know why they did this. I don't know why the feed did this. Just such exciting stuff when we look at Team WE. Okay, we're getting back into this. I want to just say, Monki, who after a pretty miserable time on EDG gets to finally prove himself on the LPL stage again. Karis, who hasn't really had the best start here to LPL, and even just Vampire, who has just been, I think, for the last year, ridiculed in the international community. I know there's a lot of fun, you know, we're poking fun at him and Aragon and that kind of thing, but he has had a lot of great games now, back to back, and it feels like they are all finding their mojo. Is it perfect? No. Is it clean? Definitely not, but Team WE have finally come to play, and they've been taking games off. Now they're about to take their first series win here.
Yeah, even if some of these fights are not 100% accurate, the persistence is all I care about at this point. That WE's morale is not dropping for a second. The confidence is evident, it is clear, and they are trying to push this forward to close this series out. As ThunderTalk, down to their last legs here, it is an 11,000 gold deficit that they have to surmount and climb. It would be very damn impressive if they could make it happen. Very unlikely so, but it would have to be off the backs of SeTab and 1xN being well protected by ThunderTalk's squad. We have not seen it happen this game yet. Team WE about to make one last push.
This is as good as it's going to get right here for ThunderTalk. 3-item Jhin, having the LDR and the Infinity Edge. 3 items on this Victor. If they can't make a defense, if they can't push back against 12,000 gold lead here, obviously they were never meant to win this game, as that's just another turret falling. They've got another mid wave coming on in. They've already got bot waves hitting the Nexus turrets. This is the last final pushes here for ThunderTalk.
Inhibitor 1 falls. Monki's in onto SeTab. Call the Forge God. Lines up only onto Beichuan. SeTab getting ready to fall. Beichuan steps up. The Pop Blossom Flash. Able to find the backline here. The rest of ThunderTalk trying to hold on and continue maintaining the front line, but the Nexus towers are in the sights of WE. Monki jumps forward once again to create space. Curtain Call looking for bullets onto Taeyoon, forcing the cleanse and the flash. Monki just pops the Cataclysm, keeps SeTab locked up. Karis will find him. 1xN trying to do it all, but it won't happen. Where were you when Team WE picked up their first series win of the Rumble stage?
They have done it. There's always that question of always forgetting how to win, but they did it against ThunderTalk. And now, I mean, they have one more match before they move into second round robin. How much better does this team look now with having access to being able to practice against fellow Group Ascend teams? Taking that win against ThunderTalk also brings down ThunderTalk in the standings. It's not going to move them all that much. Team WE are still 10th in the league with that, but now they start to build for themselves a 2-0 victory here, taking multiple 3-game series now. What does this, how far is the ceiling for this Team WE roster? Can they make a run here and on the back end of the season potentially rise in the standings?
I'm gonna say probably not. You know, like, we're going to keep expectations somewhat realistic. I think it is fantastic that Team WE find a huge confidence booster and morale lifter in being able to pick up their first series win against a team that it's their best chances of winning a series overall. And because it's now a double round robin, the fact that their first encounter with ThunderTalk is an overall win, that sets you up to at least be favored to be able to do it again the next time you face them. But then you can work your way up from the bottom of the table. You know that ThunderTalk have been able to take off series the likes of Ninjas in Pajamas. Why can't Team WE do the same? They have been able to take games off of the top teams in the group. Why can't they do the same? Obviously, it is a lot easier said than done, and that's why, you know, keeping expectations measured and keeping hopes not all the way down, but, you know, not shooting all the way up. But I will not disrespect or discredit any WE fans who are gonna take to the streets after this and, you know, put all their stocks into WE after this. You know, if you want to do that, go ahead. I won't stop you.
Yeah, I mean, fair play. Just exciting stuff for them, and for ThunderTalk, still just giving more of the same from them. I think one of the issues that we have constantly seen is, while 1xN has been a bright performer, him and Feather are really reliant on, I think, on having strong lanes set up for themselves, and yet again, the solo laner's feeling a little flat this time. Hoya, in general, the way that he plays top lane, I think has a lot of flaws. He gives up a lot of gold, and even in carry positions, hasn't really... The only time we've really seen him carry is on Mbessa, and I'm going to give that more to the champion just having so much mobility and her ultimate. So, it kind of is going back to, I think the recipe here for ThunderTalk could work, but they really need to have a strong look in the mirror, and hey... These are the teams you're probably going to be battling for like 10th, 9th, and 8th when we talk about FPX and ThunderTalk and WE. But these are matches that are super important because they basically determine what seeding you're going to be getting going into the play-ins of playoffs, which is that single best of 5 to lock your spot into playoffs.
And even looking farther ahead than play-ins and playoffs, because my expectations don't have them, you know, making like this incredible run for playoffs. You know, like, we'll go ahead and clip this. If somehow Team WE make it like in the top 4, sure, you can use this clip and laugh at me, and I'll take it on the chin. But I think what is really good for Team WE is looking at this result and saying, we don't have to change up our roster for the rest of the season. We can reliably use this iteration and continue pushing for a stronger split 3 start, knowing that we can actually put up some results and wins with this roster consistently. It's not just about, you know, finding wins off of the top teams in the standings. It's about being able to cohesively complete an entire series run, because then you're able to work your way through the other bottom teams in throughout the rest of the split, and whatever results you get, I don't think there's any shame wherever Team WE ends up at this point, because now you can just look forward to at least having the benefit in the back of your mind saying split 3 can be ours to make a better run for.
Yeah, I'm really excited for what this team can prove. Yeah, I obviously would be very excited to see whether or not they actually can do it, but I think it obviously starts here, right? Like, if you can take 1 game off of AL, you probably can take 2. If you can take 1 game off of TS, you definitely can take like a couple. That team has been a roller coaster to watch so far this year. So
true.
It also just comes back to, like, this is a closer match in the standings. Obviously, this isn't like, you know, top of the standings for Group Ascend, but for this team and for both of these teams, I think it is kind of battling for your spot, and even going into split 3, because they're going to have some, you know, effect on placements there. Just having the opportunity to play for playoffs is something that's really crucial. Why do we have to see the highlight clip of him missing is this necessary, guys? Like,
come on, man. Karis had some of his best games of the split. We don't got to make fun of the shockwaves miss.
Yeah.
It happens. It happens. He's leveled up. That's all that matters for the perspective of this squad. And I want to start talking MVP votes here, because obviously Karis stepped up a lot, not just in game 2 and game 1, but yeah, that's where my mind is. Monki had nearly a flawless game on this Jarvan. He either found the engages every time he needed to on the timers that were down for the side of ThunderTalk, and even in the fights where WE wasn't necessarily synced up, Monki throws his life forward and buys as much time as WE needs to before they're able to reposition.
I thought that Monki, he had a tough job this game, right? Like, okay, every single fight I need to be marking the Jhin, I need to be getting on top of these carries. There's a Bard in the enemy team, so it's not even like guaranteed that your pick is going to be necessarily as useful, but I mean, he got stuff done, even the early game, right? Like, level 3 creative pathing, same again. We talked about it in game 1. He was on the Skarner. He's actually forcing flashes from SeTab with some unique angles with Skarner.
Yeah.
So I think Monki has been really creative sometimes. I think it comes to bite him, especially against some unorthodox plays. If they don't end up working out, I think he becomes a really big deficit there. But we're going to see who our MVP is.
Bam!
And there we go. 5 MVPs here. Again, they only have won so many games. I'm going to double check this real quick. Pretty sure they've only... So one of them has to have gone to... I know one of them went to Karis, obviously. They've won 5 games. Insane. Hello? We're just watching Jarvan highlights?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what? I wanted to let that moment sink in, you know? Considering that Monki had to step in and basically help revitalize this team as much as possible, starting back in Split 1, where Tianjin was just not cutting it for WE. And off the strength of that one Viego carry game, we thought that, oh, okay, you know what? Maybe Monki might have that dog in him. But then group stage, not the most convincing. Couple wins here, but we didn't feel like it was necessarily WE, you know, really, you know, performing up to the plate. More so the enemy team making a ton of mistakes. But man, this series alone, this game, Monki, insanely huge on the Jarvan. I think this has been his best performance of the year so far. Such confidence, such control, such decisiveness. Congratulations to Monki and Team WE. And Alk, that's it. Our broadcast is over.
Yes. I'm so happy today's a 4-0, man. I've never been so happy to see a 4. I had a group Nirvana game and we had the bottom of group Ascend. You do not know how worried I was for 6 games today, okay? But happy that our teams could deliver, especially for giving us this. And I mean, that's just another day of the LPL done. We got banger games tomorrow. Then we got more group Nirvana. We got NIP versus TES. Hopefully Doinby can kind of prove up again and kind of do something, please. And it'd be really, I mean, they're slated to lose against TES, but TS have also been losing some real random games, so...
And you know what? It could be that NIP series where Top Esports drop another one. Who knows? Or maybe NIP get their shiz together just in time. But before we close out our show, y'all, we want to give a huge shout out and thank you to our elite coffee supporters, Aaron Soup and Mung. Their pledged financial contribution helps level up the broadcast and give back to the cast and crew who strive to give you an English LPL product every single day. It has been a blast being able to come back and get another cast in for the LPL, y'all. I personally won't be back on again for quite some time just because I've been a little busy, but I'm always happy to return and get some play-by-play in, see how the teams in the LPL are doing, and with, hopefully, Slayer coming back into the fold. He was sick for a bit, but I'm excited to hear my boy cast again. I've missed him, hearing his awesome calls here on the LPL unofficial English broadcast as well. Always a pleasure to cast with Alk in the booth as well. Get that alpha synergy back in together, baby. It's always a blast. Before we go, Alk, any last words from you?
No, congratulations to Team WE and for LGD for winning today. Obviously, really strong games, and looking forward to the rest of LPL as we are only halfway through week 4, or almost a little under halfway through week 4 of 8-week split.
You heard it here, folks. It's Alk and Raafaa signing off for tonight. Thank you all for tuning in.